Hello children, welcome to another session of Children's Liturgy. This is the second Sunday of Easter. The theme for this week is God gives us His peace. Let us listen to the Gospel reading.
A reading from John chapter 20, verse 19 to 23. The disciples were gathered together in one room when suddenly Jesus appeared among them. Seeing their fear, he said to them, "Peace be with you." And he showed them the wounds in his hands and his side. The disciples were overjoyed to see Jesus again and to know that he was alive. Then Jesus said to them, "I give you my peace, and as my Father sent me, so I am sending you." Breathing gently on them, he said, "Be filled with the Holy Spirit, and know that whoever you forgive will be forgiven by me."
In today's Gospel reading, Jesus' disciples were gathered in a room, hiding. They had witnessed Jesus being arrested, and after that, saw him being crucified and died on the cross. They were very grieved that Jesus had died. They were also feeling very afraid that they might get arrested for being disciples of Jesus. Some of them were feeling very guilty because instead of helping Jesus, they abandoned him when he got arrested. Just as they were feeling very down, Jesus appeared among them. Wasn't Jesus dead? How could he be standing before them? The door was locked. How did he get in? The disciples were in shock and must have thought they were seeing a ghost. Do you remember the first words Jesus said when he appeared before them? He said, "Peace be with you." He proved to them that he was not a ghost by showing them the wounds on his side and his hands. Jesus was alive. What a miracle! God had turned their sorrow into joy and wonder as they saw Jesus right before them, alive. They were talking to him just like before. What does Jesus mean when he said, "Peace be with you"? He meant to tell the disciples to not be afraid. Jesus could have expressed his anger and disappointment to his disciples for running away, or questioned Peter for denying him. Yet, Jesus did not admonish them, but offered them peace. By appearing before them, God has shown the disciples, through Jesus, that he keeps his promises, that Jesus will rise again from the dead on the third day. The disciples were not only joyful, but also received God's peace through Jesus when he said, "Peace be with you," because Jesus had forgiven them. I want to talk to you more about what it means to receive God's peace by sharing with you something that happened to me just recently. In January this year, I had a cough and after that fever on the second day. I thought to myself that it could not be COVID as I hardly went out. But just to be sure, I tested myself. I was relieved that I tested negative for COVID. On the third day, I felt much better. So I was caught by surprise when I tested positive. The doctor's visit confirmed that I had indeed caught COVID. I was mentally prepared that this might happen one day, but I could not help feeling worried, as I had read about some people who get quite seriously ill when they catch COVID. I had been hoping no one in our family would catch it. I was most concerned for my children who have sensitive airways. Will they be able to recover well? My elderly father lives with me too, and it would not be good if he caught it. I prayed and asked God to protect my family and keep all of us safe. Over the next few days, I quarantined myself in my room, hoping that with minimal contact, I will not infect the rest of my family. As each day went by, my heart fell a little when my family members developed fever, one by one, and tested positive. Whenever I caught myself worrying, I reminded myself to pray and trust God. Even though I felt tired because I could not get enough rest from looking after my children who fell ill, I felt surprisingly at peace. I thank God that my husband recovered fast, so both of us were able to take turns to look after the children. We chose not to focus on our worries, but chose to trust God. We felt at peace because we knew that God would take care of us. God was indeed good and faithful. My children, whom I was worried for, were each unwell for only about 3 days. I'm so grateful to God that all of us recovered well. And to top it off, we all recovered just before Chinese New Year, so we could still celebrate together. God's timing was perfect. It was a great relief for me, but more than that, I'm thankful for His peace, that we could go through this period without feeling afraid. In the Gospel of John, chapter 14, verse 27, Jesus says, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid." Dear children, in our lives, we will all go through trouble. God did not say that He will remove all our troubles. That is what Jesus means when He says, "I do not give to you peace as the world gives." But He has promised to give us His peace. That is why, when we feel troubled, we can pray and tell God about how we feel. When we have full faith and trust, we will have the peace that He promised us. Just as Jesus appeared before His disciples and granted them His peace, I pray that you will encounter God and receive His peace as you surrender your burdens to Him in prayer. Coming back to the Gospel, do you remember what else Jesus said to His disciples? He sent them to carry on His work with the help of the Holy Spirit and to share the good news with the rest of the world. He gave them the power and authority to forgive sins and to share His peace and forgiveness with other people. Dear children, do you know that Jesus is calling you to share His love too? Do you know that you can also offer to let God use you to bring His peace to others? I encourage you to take time to think about how you can be a channel of God's peace for your family and friends. For example, you might get into a quarrel with your sibling. However, instead of wanting to win a quarrel, you could choose to calm down. Pray to Jesus. Ask your parents to help you learn to be more understanding and forgiving. When you do that, you're allowing God to use you to bring peace to your family. When we trust God with all our hearts, we will have His peace, no matter what happens. Jesus is gently inviting you to share this peace with others too. Will you say yes to Jesus?